Well, hello, Blackhawk family. Steve Webster here again on Wednesday. It's been a very full day. We have a lot of really exciting things to talk to you about coming up in ministry. So be looking for announcements on that coming up very, very soon. I, most nights, take a walk with our dog, about 9:45, 9:30, 9:45. And when I'm all caught up on the other podcasts that I listen to, I have been listening to the audio version of the third book in the Chronicles of Narnia, which is called The Horse and His Boy. It's called A Horse and His Boy. It's my favorite of the seven, and I don't think I can probably explain why that it is. I just love the story. I love maybe the time in my life that I read it the first time, and it's good to remember those things. There's a scene in the book. The book is a story of a boy named Shasta who runs away from the only home he's ever known, and the horse he runs away with is a talking horse from Narnia. And they have adventures together. They fall in with other people. On the way to Narnia, they have to journey through this very large city on the edge of a desert. And he is with a party of people, and they get separated. And he finds himself on the outside of the city in the midst of a bunch of tombs out there. He arrives, for reasons that you'll have to read the book to find out, but he arrives at these tombs at night, and it's believed that they're to be haunted. And so he has to be there by himself at this dark time of night, and he starts to see things and hear things, and he's troubled, as you would imagine anyone would be as a child, alone in the dark in a strange place. This cat comes along and gives him comfort and provides him with some companionship. And then he hears these noises, the noises of the desert, the wilderness, coming and creeping closer. And then there's this remarkable paragraph in the story, which I'll just read to you here at this point. He was just going to run for it when suddenly between him and the desert, a huge animal bounded into view. As the moon was behind it, it looked quite black, and Shasta did not know what it was, except that it had a very big, shaggy head and went on 4 legs. It did not seem to have noticed Shasta, for it suddenly stopped, turned its head toward the desert, and let out a roar which re-echoed through the tombs and seemed to shake the sand under Shasta's feet. The cries of the other creatures suddenly stopped, and he thought he could hear feet scampering away. Then the great beast turned to examine Shasta. Of course, the great lion in the Chronicles of Narnia is Aslan. And C.S. Lewis has said, by way of clarification, that Narnia isn't an allegory, and I won't bore you with the teachery stuff about what an allegory is, but Narnia, according to C.S. Lewis, the author of those books, Narnia isn't an allegory. Narnia is a supposal. So suppose Jesus came to a world full of animals. What would that be like? C.S. Lewis wrote a series of stories about that. And in this story, Aslan comes to visit Shasta at his time of greatest need. I was thinking also earlier this week about Psalm 91. Psalm 91 is a marvelous promise of God's presence with us in struggle. It says in verse 14 of Psalm 91, because he holds fast to me in love, I will deliver him. I will protect him because he knows my name. When he calls to me, I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will rescue him and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. Christians would be right to ask some very pointed questions about that psalm, because we've all known people who have really trusted the Lord and have suffered and have not been delivered from trouble, and maybe haven't lived the long life. So the psalmist is expressing a promise that God will keep. It's probably necessary to read Psalm 91 and psalms like it as an expression of a spiritual promise that God will deliver us ultimately into his presence someday because of what Christ has done. But it's also important to remember that the psalm is as much a promise of God's presence with us in trouble as a promise that nothing bad will ever happen to us. It can't mean that for obvious reasons. I love this week that little paragraph from the horse and his boy was a reminder to me of God's presence with us in trouble. And so wherever you find yourself today, friend, know that God has promised to be with you in that trouble. He hasn't promised to remove all trouble from your life, but he has promised to be with you in it in whatever capacity that you need, as he was with this boy Shasta on a dark night in a strange place. So hang in there, everybody. Be kind to each other. Stay safe. We look forward to seeing you again real soon.